Good day and welcome back to Subsume. This is Dejan Sneed here with Subsume Media in Atlanta, Georgia. Hoping this message finds you well. Welcome again to Creative Juneteenth 2021, which is our celebration of our creative freedoms and the liberties to tell our stories with agency, authority, and inclusion. And so thank you all again. So I am excited to not only continue the celebration for day 3 of Subsume Summit, and again, look at celebrating Creative Juneteenth and also making sure that we give a happy, healthy, and honorable thank you and happy Father's Day to all the fathers, the men, and those who play in those roles in our daily lives that we do honor and appreciate you. Thank you so very much. And so this year for Subsume Summit, which is year 3, we wanted to take that next step forward in regards to the way that we look at film as part of the legacy of story. So, of course, we've had some great filmmakers be part of our Subsume Summit first film festival here for Subsume Summit. Also being able to look at the way that film and storytelling go together, as well as how we can find ourselves included in front of the lens and behind it. And so it's quite appropriate that we go on to our next portion of the show, where we wanted to look at some of the new innovators of film in tomorrow. And so with that, we've taken an opportunity here to partner with Reimagine ATL. And I want to go ahead and bring them and some new future filmmakers to the stage. And so we'll look to do that now. All right, and welcome everyone. Thank you so very much. And kind of from the front, hopefully everyone's able to hear and see me just fine. All right, thank y'all. So again, welcome. My name is Dedrin, and again, welcome to Creative Juneteenth 2021. And we thank y'all so much for being the very first inaugural class of our young filmmakers of the future. So thank y'all. We're honored to have your show and you as part of this conversation. And I think we're led off here by Miss Kimberlyn Bolton. So Kimberlyn, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Dedrin. Thank you so much for having us today. We are so excited to be here. I am Kimberlyn Bolton, the Executive Director of Reimagine ATL, and we are essentially an education and workforce development organization geared specifically towards the creative industries. And so what that means is we simply exist to equip the next generation of representative storytellers by providing them with creative exposure, training, and placement within the careers that exist within the industry.
Perfect. And the just the overall mission statement of Reimagine ATL just aligns so succinctly with what we're looking to build with Subsume. It was quite our pleasure to reach out and again to find in no short order a wealth of talent that we have here on the screen here now. So as we like, we would like to go around and have folks introduce themselves and let us know who you are, where you're from, and what film we'll be watching of yours today. All right, no worries. May we start with you, Nia?
Hi, my name is Nia Velasquez. I'm 17, I'm from Atlanta, and the documentary that I'm showing today is called Cartoons Are Here For Me.
Thank you. Is that Nyla?
Hi, I'm Nyla. I'm 17 as well, also from Atlanta, and my documentary is called Father and Son.
Thank you. And is it Takaya?
Yes, you got it right. Hello, my name is Takaya Riley. I'm 18. I'm from Dublin, Georgia, and the documentary you'll be seeing today is, oh my God, sorry, I forgot the name of it for a second. Or Forever Hold Your Peace.
Thank you so very much, ladies. I appreciate your time and opportunity. So what we want to do here is get right on with the show. I want to be able to queue up a few of the parts of each of your individual pieces of work and just ask a couple of questions if that's okay. And then of course, leave it, if we have comments and any opportunities from our studio audience, we want to make sure that we give you a moment to get a chance to answer. And of course, we had a chance to run each of your films here earlier today in our virtual space. Again, we were honored to do so, and we'll definitely have that future conversation about how we can feature it more locally here in Atlanta. But first off, definitely wanted to make sure we give you ladies your proper due diligence and letting us be a part of your legacy. So thank you again for that. Straight up. With that, I think we're going to start with the first one, which is we're going to watch the first trailer of Cartoons Are Here For Me. All right. So what we'll do is going to look to cue that up and bring that to the stage. So thank y'all. All right. And what we'll end up doing is we'll depart from the stage. We'll bring that piece up, run it for, I think we've got a runtime of 1:38, and then we want to come back into to you and be able to ask some questions in regards to that block, if that's okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Just one moment. We'll go ahead and we're going to reset our theater so that we can enjoy this portion of entertainment. All right. So stay tuned with us for a moment as we bring up our very first feature. Cartoons Are Here For Me.
These kinds of questions are so funny because then I have all these great examples and they fly out once I'm here because all of these examples is just here in front of you.
I don't know if this is a trope, but the loud black girl. Yeah. I see that one a bunch and I'm like, not all of us are like that. That's not really good for you to have.
We don't have a lot of sort of quieter, meeker or quietly intelligent Black women represented. I really don't think there's a lot of Black women representation in cartoons, animation at all.
One thing that they used to do a lot of times, which was funny to me, is that like the Super Friends from the 70s, like there have been several production waves of these Justice League of America assemblages of these characters. The original Justice League never had a Black person in them, but in the 70s they decided, hey, it's kind of hip and good for Black marketing. So they added a character named Black Vulcan. Okay, he was a black guy that turned into a strike of lightning and he could fly away. But we knew he was Black.
For some reason, I feel like we always see that like goofy Black character trope.
It's a stereotype. It makes everyone think, I think every Black girl might be like that, when that's far from the case.
Oh, am I missing? There we go. I want to make sure I got everyone else back in. Let me just ask, was the stream okay for everyone? No, it was kind of disjointed, right? Okay, that's what I'm thinking, that it seemed like it was playing in a bit of delay. What I'll do, I'll try to see if I can reset it because I want to make sure to give everybody the proper review. All right, so I'm going to just try to see if we can reset that for just one moment and look to bring that right back, okay?
These kinds of questions are so funny because then I have all these great examples and they fly out once I'm here because all of these examples is just here in front of you.
I don't know if this is a trope, but the loud Black girl. Yeah. I see that one a bunch and I'm like, not all of us are like that. That's not really good for you to have.
We don't have a lot of sort of quieter, meeker or quietly intelligent Black women represented. I really don't think there's a lot of Black women representation in cartoons, animation at all.
One thing that they used to do a lot of times, which was funny to me, is that like the Super Friends from the 70s, like there have been several production waves of these Justice League of America assemblages of these characters. The original Justice League never had a Black person in them, but in the 70s they decided, hey, it's kind of hip and good for Black marketing. So they added a character named Black Vulcan. Okay, he was a black guy that turned into a strike of lightning and he could fly away. But we knew he was Black.
for some reason, I feel like we always see that like goofy black character trope.
It's a stereotype. It makes everyone think, ooh, I think every black girl might be like that, when that's far from the case.
Right. And I'll continue to work on that, ladies. I think I'm going to move this to another machine that we can make sure to get a full and complete play. So, but I do want to make sure that we take the time, at least initially, to talk about, to kind of just ask the questions to you, Kimberly, if we may. Excuse me. To let's see, this film by Nia, correct? That's right. Okay, I have to make sure I have it right. So, Nia, I do want to just kind of ask you, what was the purpose of this particular film as you were making this as a concept?
Well, originally it kind of came to me. I've always been really interested in animation. It's always been one of my favorite mediums and genres. And around the time of like situation that matter, a lot of people were trying to like, prove and show how they can best support Black people in these times. And one of the things that kind of interested me most being into animation is a lot of white voice actors leaving their roles. And it led to like a lot of discourse I kind of watched of people being like, well, maybe they should, or maybe it's talent that matters. We listen with our ears and not our eyes, so if they're doing the job correctly. And I was just like, considering like how much Black representation we have in this medium, is this okay anyway? And I just wanted to kind of ask around and see if anyone kind of felt how people in this medium felt about that.
You're muted.
Yeah, I couldn't hear what you said.
No worries. No, trying to be courteous with you, but thank you so very much. I appreciate that. I was going to ask, obviously you have a lot of love for the medium of animation. And again, obviously speaking of this about tropes, particularly about Black girls, is there a particular instance of I guess watching or being part of like an animation project, or maybe just something that you saw in media itself that you would think exemplifies what you're talking about?
Yes. There is a show that I do really, really like that has missed the mark when it comes to Black representation, or Black coding, as it's called often when characters don't really explicitly have a race. There was a character who was constantly kind of personified as being strong, and it was just kind of it just didn't really read well when other characters took advantage of that and would use that character only for her strength, and because they thought like being with her would make them stronger or better in a way. And it's like, is that the only reason that said character is here for? And we see that often, and it's not healthy and it's not real. Like, why do Black women always have to be perceived as like strong? Why can't we just be happy?
No, so well put and quite poignant. I mean, and putting that posing that as a question to an industry that I presume that you like to be in, what would you say is that response? Like, why do we think that characters, particularly Black women characters in animation, to your point, don't appear to be happy or perceived as such?
Honestly, I think it kind of goes back to like not having Black women in the writers' rooms or in the storyboard rooms. I feel like they think it's the best way to show us, as we have been underrepresented and seen as weak in real time. They think that's like the only other way to be, and that's like the best way to be, which is wrong. It's just wrong.
Easy enough. No, pleasure. And I mean, and to your point, making this film, was there anything that surprised you in your research or development of this film, of trying to bring this point to light?
In my research, honestly, it was interesting to see a lot of things being affirmed and being like how many things that I've watched and didn't see a problem with actually had problems, and how it can be a lot to kind of try and make that better. That was like probably during research, but I think it most surprised me like during interviews, like how different people thought. And I like to think it was like a generational thing where some people said one thing and somebody else said the exact opposite in regards to like the main questions, like should white people be voicing Black characters or should non-Black people be voicing Black characters? Like that really shocked me the most.
Wow. And now, as far as what's next to be able to explore either this particular subject or next, do you have a follow-up for this particular feature, or perhaps an extension of what we're seeing here today?
I would love to kind of continue what I started. I'd love to make it longer. I feel like there's a lot of good points that I did not use, and I'd love to like branch out on that. Yeah. Sorry.
No, easy enough. And I'm just trying to make sure I cue this up on a stronger machine for our next point. Now, what would you say overall to anyone watching this film is the message that you'd like to convey?
That representation is important. And in a medium in which you can literally do anything, there really isn't an excuse for not hiring, casting, telling Black stories like at all.
Just well said. And again, what we can appreciate between yourself and all of y'all is taking the initiative to craft that story and not waiting for permission, of course, is key, particularly for storytellers. So with that, any other plans to maybe submit this to, say, a festival? Or again, I know you just said, you're looking at seeing this out. What mediums do you feel like are best for you as a young filmmaker to get your message out?
Well, I'll probably continue with the film medium to get this story out because animation does take a very, very long time to craft. And I definitely will begin that process to, practice what I preach and get into this field so that I can tell the stories that I want to tell.
Perfect. No, Ania, thank you so very much. I appreciate, that consideration. And again, we'll look to troubleshoot here to get things up. So what I want to do is also just give another point in time here for the next film that we'll look at. So as I work on that, which will be Forever Hold Your Peace. And Takia, just wanted to ask as we get started, can you give us a synopsis of what this film is and how you came about that?
Okay, a synopsis of what the film is. I would say the film is about three women like reflecting on the trauma that they've faced throughout generations and years of their lives, and specifically their childhood. And how I went about creating it, I really had no intention on making it about that. It started off as it was supposed to be about love and romance and relationships, and I was going to have it focus a lot on my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather. But there was I asked her a question about her marriage, and she said one thing that really stuck out to me, and I feel like that's what sparked everything. She told me that she got married at like 18. And to me, being an 18-year-old, I could not imagine getting married, and considering like, I don't want to put all my family business out, but considering the age gap between my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather, that really stuck out to me. And I decided to unpack that more.
Just such a great perception, at such a young age of what that type of relationship had been like. What, and looking at that particular kind of circumstance, what obviously your own perspective of not maybe being able to initially perceive what that is, and speaking with your family through the film, why did you was there a realization that you came to?
A realization. I came to a lot of realizations, honestly, but when it came, like, where it pertains to marriage and her marrying so young, I just realized, kind of like how Nia was saying, it's definitely a generation thing. Like, to me, I couldn't fathom getting married so young. But back then, that was like a norm for them to get married so young. Nobody questioned, no one asked, like, I think it's strange that a grown man would be interested in it. Like no one ever looked at that kind of thing like we do now. And I also realized that my family has a lot of things that there was some things I learned in the documentary. Like I didn't know a lot about what was going on before I was created.
So in that, what does your family think about the documentary when they watch it now?
Not many people have seen it, and I kind of want to keep it that way.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I know.
I was advised not to show it to certain. So yeah, I'm fine with the public seeing it, but my family, I think I'm just gonna hope they kind of forget it exists.
No, again, we want to be respectful of that consideration, of course. Anytime when it's a personal, connection to a project, that's something I think we all as creators feel in some way. But for it to be so intimate, to truly be your family, and that point, one, I want to commend you for your courage, of bringing that type of story to light. For any of us, I think there's always a part of us within our project, but I think very much, you're already advanced past that, right? So again, I want to, again, that takes a bravery, and I think a courage and storytelling that'll serve you well in your career to come. So I want to see if we can get that queued up here now. I think I've got a better computer over here, and then obviously we want to go back to you, Naya, and make sure that we get you and your work there. I'm trying to enter in my studio as yet another person, and let's see if I can bring that point to light. All right, and again, thank you everybody so much for your patience. Let's see. So for yours, okay, we're starting at, we have the trailer here. All right, see if we can get this going. All right, we'll bring us down and see if we can get the service back up. All right. All right, I think we have it in queue here. We're going to bring us down, and we'll be right into it.
A grandmother, a great-grandmother, a friend, and a companion, and a babysitter. Whatever they need me to be, that's what I am in the family. I raised my oldest daughters, 2 daughters. I raised them up until they graduated from high school, until they got married, because I feel like that's my life, that's what I was put here for, is to take care of my family, is to help raise my children and help raise my grandchildren and help raise my great-grandchildren. So I don't regret that at all.
Being raised by my grandmother rather than my mother was hard because I didn't get the opportunity to experience the things that other females or women or children experience as far as having your mother there with you to go through every single important moment in your life. I'm thankful for her taking the time to raise us because I know that she did not have to, but I still wish that I had been raised by my mom.
When I got married to my youngest two children's father, we were moving to McCray, and I asked the girls, because they were so used to being around my mama and my stepdad, I asked them if they wanted to come with me or go with me to stay with their grandparents, or they want to stay with me. But their answer was they wanted to stay here. They didn't want to leave their friends, and they were just more comfortable being there. I regret leaving them with them. It's because of some things that happened in their lives. I think never should have happened, and I should have been their mother and took care of them. But the pattern of the kids staying with their grandparents, that was in my life. I stayed with my grandmama. She raised me.
I was a little upset because I felt like my mom didn't want to raise us, like we weren't as important. I know better now, but at that time, being a child, you just feel like, okay, why am I not good enough to be raised by my mom? Why do I have to be raised by my grandmother? Even though the choice was ours, we chose to go live with our grandmother. I felt like my mom could have fought for us to live with her a little bit more.
When I first lived with my big mama, I was probably about 5 till I probably got from 5 to 8. And then my mom came back to Georgia, and then we had to live with her. But we all lived in a house with my grandmama. So as long as I was with my grandmother, everything was good.
And why you moved with your grandmother?
Yes, because my stepfather was abusive.
And thank you so very much. I appreciate the power of that clip we just watched. So I would say from that, Takia, just having watched it again, and I'm sure it's not new to you, but is any points of reflection, as you see that yet again?
Everybody should go to therapy before. Everybody should go to therapy. That's it. That's a statement.
No, just exactly. Just so well said. Y'all are just so much ahead of where I was at 18. And in that purview, I think to have an appreciation for your mental health and being able to realize and rationalize and heal in all points is wise beyond your years. I'm over here speechless. I don't have much else to to add into that. It's obviously we talked about the challenge of something being so close and so intimate being hard to share with your family. Is there anything else that may have been difficult about this project that maybe wasn't so much the emotional side?
Well, this is, I guess, more still on the emotional side, but
Hmm.
I had to go and do the interviews for the documentary, but I also had to go to my hometown because I had to go to my grandmother's funeral. So I went from my grandmother's funeral to interviewing my other grandmother, and that was just a lot going on. I just wasn't in the best mindset going into it because I was grieving and there was a lot. And then a few days later, I found out that a friend of mine had also passed away. And I had no drive at one point. I just wanted to give up. But, I dedicated so much time to it already. So I kept going. But that was very difficult. And I was kind of bitter editing it because I was like, my mom, she's been able to see her grandmother and she even got to see her great grandmother as she got older. But I won't be able to have that same experience. I mean, I still have grandparents, but um, yeah, so that was probably difficult. Also, a technical thing, my audio wouldn't sync for the longest time, but that was minor compared to the other thing, but it was still very daunting.
No, it's just was still still just so poignant. And again, you know, as we're seeing in real time, those audio and video things, they going to follow you your career. So it's being able to still come through with your project and your passion is absolutely is absolutely key. So any closing sentiments, you know, as we look to talk about the next film?
From me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant there.
No worries. No worries.
Be kind to people because there's a lot about them you don't know, especially if they're your family members. Even though you're related to them, you probably don't know that much about them.
Just the wisdom being just passed along. Again, just so well said. Thank you so very much. You know, Nyla, before we go to your film, I do want to get a chance to see if we can, from a technical standpoint, go back and see without interruption Ms. Velasquez's piece. So if we may, we're going to try to count that back down and give you another moment or so to reflect on your piece of work. Nia. Is that okay? Thank you. I appreciate it. We'll double back. I feel confident with the new computer that we'll have this go along. But we definitely want to make sure, and for folks who are watching, feel free if you have some comments or suggestions or just affirmations for the talent that you're seeing here today. By all means, feel free to drop a link in the chat and a note, and we'll take it from there. All right. Thank you so very much.
These kinds of questions are so funny because then I have all these great examples and they fly out once I'm here because all of these examples is just here in front of you.
I don't know if this is a trope, but the loud black girl. Yeah. I see that one a bunch and I'm like, not all of us are like that. That's not really good for you to have.
We don't have a lot of sort of quieter, meeker or quietly intelligent Black women represented. I really don't think there's a lot of Black women representation in cartoons, animation at all.
One thing that they used to do a lot of times, which was funny to me, is that like the Super Friends from the 70s, like there have been several production waves of these Justice League of America assemblages of these characters. The original Justice League never had a Black person in them, but in the 70s they decided, hey, it's kind of hip and good for Black marketing. So they added a character named Black Vulcan. Okay, he was a black guy that turned into a strike of lightning and could fly away. But we knew he was Black.
For some reason, I feel like we always see that like goofy Black character trope.
It's a stereotype. It makes everyone think, I think every Black girl might be like that, when that's far from the case.
Thank you so very much. I'm glad that we got a proper viewing of that. Naya, any points of reflection as we got a chance to fully appreciate the trailer?
It's Nia.
Excuse me. My apologies. Yes, my apologies. Nia.
Honestly, I just think, especially when it comes to tropes and stereotypes, we really need to go back and do research about what is helpful and what's harmful in having those conversations. I think those are really, really important. And especially as people are moving more to trying to be a little more conscious in what they're putting out, we need to start hiring Black people. Please hire Black people.
Just again, so well said. Again, this is our inaugural class is just got all the wisdom already. It's the bar is so high. And we're going to continue that conversation by looking at our third piece, which is father and son. And Nyla, thank you so very much. I appreciate you and your patience. Definitely, we want to round in our third of our Reimagine ATL film selections here. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what we're about to witness here with your work, Father and Son?
Sure. Okay. So, Father and Son is basically just about my dad and my brother, and kind of just like it's kind of like a conversation between the two of them while not being exactly with the camera kind of intermediating. And I felt like using film as a medium to get my brother and my dad to open up kind of just made them more honest and more open about kind of their relationship and how it's changing as my brother's, getting older, and just their dynamic as father and son.
All right. Thank you. So with that, I think we have this film queued up, and I want to go ahead and bring that in, and we will proceed. So with that, everyone, let us take a moment. Let's count it down for Father and Son.
We see ourselves through our kids, right? And you want it to be the very best part of you. So I saw Kettler 2.0. Leslie probably saw in you Leslie 2.0. So that's the goal, is to see yourself and see how can you improve yourself to be a better version of yourself. But I wasn't one of those like crazy dads like, man, I gotta get a son now, I'm gonna make him the greatest basketball player, the greatest this, the greatest. It wasn't kind of like that. It was like, man, we're blessed. We got, both sexes, you're gonna have great kids. We're gonna have the perfect